A WWE superstar has talked about receiving death threats. Meanwhile, WWE are preparing for a possible return to the Thunderdome, and a controversial former WWE superstar has claimed that a WWE return is possibly happening. More on that in a little bit. Hello, it's Jack and Ross back again for the news. Ross, this time we're talking about a SmackDown star receiving death threats. Never a nice thing to hear, especially when it's a man who I believe in real life seems like he's lovely. Seems like a nice man. Who is it?
He's got all the meat, he's got all the whiskey, he's got a lovely large dog called Xander. It's Happy Corbin, who's revealed on Out of Character with Ryan Satan, as Matthew likes to call him on the Cultaholic Wrestling podcast. When I hit Becky Lynch with the end of days at Extreme Rules back in 2019, I think it was, I was getting death threats on a regular basis. 95% in brackets there, critics are on the internet or safely behind somewhere they can't be accessed. Roman said it the best one time. That he's never met a hater in real life, and that's the same kind of thing with me. I'll tell you what, everybody, you might be wondering why I'm red in the face and I can't read. I had my booster the other day, and I'm dying. I'm dying here, but yeah.
Better in the long run.
Oh my God! Sorry about this. Yeah.
Basically, Corbin there saying that Roman said that in person everyone's nice to him because he's Roman Reigns, and Corbin said it's the same for him. They're big hard men, so I kind of understand. But you never want to hear about that. So obviously that's sad news. Thankfully, it was in Corbin's past. These days, he's one of my favourite parts of SmackDown. I absolutely love him and Madcap Moss. Wait, are they on SmackDown? Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God for that.
Oh yeah, the 2021 that he's had from going from the King stuff, which was just, he should have got rid of that a long time before he did, and then going to down on his luck Corbin, the Happy Corbin's just been a fantastic year for him.
Absolutely. WWE are prepared for a possible Thunderdome return with the COVID Omicron variant spreading, and Dave Meltzer has discussed how WWE is preparing, saying, "I think they're both going to be pretty confident that Florida will not issue any mandates under any circumstance," meaning WWE and AEW. He says, "Obviously AEW can go back to Jacksonville and WWE can go back to someplace in Florida. You can always do the Performance Center." He also suggested, though, that the return to the Performance Center or the Thunderdome would result in the ratings falling again, as they did during the pandemic. He also talked, Ross, I believe, a little bit about the COVID procedure in WWE and AEW. What did he say about that?
Yeah, this is when it comes to testing positive for COVID-19, when he says, "So, it is 10 days out for WWE and in AEW. That's if a star tests positive for COVID. But if you have to obviously test negative before you can come back in. This is what it was, and they have not announced any changes, but they don't go public with that policy. So if there is a change that's been made, we probably wouldn't know." But yeah, it's Meltzer.
Meltzer. Not only have I thrown you a curveball there by getting you to read out something while you're not feeling the best, it was a Dave Meltzer paragraph as well. So
yeah, well, my vision's going like that, and I'm just trying to read Dave Meltzer's jazz speak. But yes, I can't believe that Dave Meltzer basically said plans could change when it comes to testing positive for COVID-19, but he has done there, hasn't he?
Yeah, I suppose so. Elsewhere, there's a reason why no WWE talent were featured on Ring of Honor Final Battle. Kevin Owens was on the... What is this? It's a French sentence.
I've got this one.
Go on.
Les antipodes de la lutte. No, there's no thing above the A. It's lutte.
De la lutte. Fantastic. So yes, he said that on that podcast, Ring of Honor did not ask the WWE office or any individual talent to send in videos. Owens said he thinks WWE would have allowed them to, though, if Ring of Honor had asked. He said the answer is quite simple. Ring of Honor didn't ask any wrestlers from WWE to do that, nor contacted anyone at WWE. I knew it was going to be their last show, but I didn't think to send a video so they could play it at the show. We're talking about appearances in video sort of tribute form rather than actual wrestling matches taking place with the WWE contracted talent, of course. He said, "I watched it. I was at a WWE show and I was watching it on my phone, so it was not something that I simply ignored. I've read some people on the internet saying that probably WWE didn't let us do it, but that's incorrect. It's just Ring of Honor who didn't ask us, and I bet if they had, we could have done it, but that wasn't the case." That's sad.
It's easy for Kevin Owens to say that, but I reckon Ring of Honor probably just thought, yeah, they're not going to let them, so why bother? Because that's what they've done in the past with everything else in the world ever, just about it, haven't they?
Yeah, pretty much. Apart from one time when we got to use Joseph Connors when he was signed, so still can't believe that happened.
That's the same.
Yeah, that's exactly the same. No, I guess Kevin Owens, I mean, I think he probably does genuinely believe that. I don't think he's just singing the praises of WWE because they've just given him a lot of money. I think he genuinely does believe that, but from the outside, it maybe doesn't look as likely. Is it the end, Ross, of the Cruiserweight division in NXT? Because on NXT last night, we learned that there's going to be a unification match between the NXT Cruiserweight Championship and the NXT North American Championship at New Year's Evil. Carmelo Hayes and Roderick Strong. Who's gonna win?
I mean, you would assume it'd be Carmelo Hayes since he is the North American champion. Joe Gacy has rightfully been saying that the Cruiserweight division is very exclusive. It's very not inclusive to people who are fat. So therefore, it should be put in the bin for being a bit of a poo house championship, quite frankly, by God.
I think I can't see any way the Cruiserweight division survives this. There were rumours, of course, that they were going to, mainly centred around what Joe Gacy was saying in his promos, that they were going to axe the division. And it's made me worried for a lot of smaller people in NXT, basically, a lot of Cruiserweight wrestlers. I'm guessing some will move on to like storylines based outside of that division, but for a lot of people, it seems like this could be bad news.
Or it could just be the sign of one door closing and another door opening as they get a silly gimmick. Something like a poker player, like we've got in NXT, or the baby who walks around backstage with their blankie, being a bit tired, or the funny Japanese lads who are mocked because they are Japanese. That's the NXT's outlook, not mine.
No, absolutely.
So they're just going to get a funny gimmick and everything will be fine.
That is not the only match announced so far for New Year's Evil. Not TakeOver New Year's Evil. Other than that was never a TakeOver, was it? That was one of like the specials, wasn't it? Like the Wednesday specials. But there are other matches announced as well. Tommaso Ciampa defending the NXT title against Bron Breakker. Mandy Rose defending the women's title against both Raquel Gonzalez and Cora Jade in a triple threat match. And that's it. Those are the three. Of course, Hayes versus Roderick Strong in the Cruiserweight division's last stand. I can't see them having the North American title absorbed. I think even if Roddy Strong wins, he's more likely to drop the Cruiserweight one and be the North American champion.
As you would do as well, because in the pecking order, surely just the North American title's higher up anyway, so it's not a foregone conclusion maybe who will win, but I think it's a foregone conclusion which belt will die.
And finally, we've got to talk about Alberto El Patron, formerly known as...
Do we have to speak about Alberto El Patron?
Very briefly to end the video. Formerly known, of course, as Alberto Del Rio. Many controversies associated with his name. And now he's been telling people close to him that he will be back in a major wrestling promotion, most likely WWE in 2022. Sean Ross-Sapp tweeted, "I've spoken with people from WWE, MLW, Impact, who say they either have no interest in bringing in Del Rio or would be shocked if it happens. AEW talent that Sean Ross-Sapp has spoken to say they've never heard him mentioned even as possibly coming in." So seems like he might be lying a bit there.
So, Jack, I would assume you're basically the closest person to me right now, so I'd like to tell you that I'm signing for WWE next year, and I'm going to be made World Heavyweight Champion.
Well, fantastic.
I'm in the main event of WrestleMania against Omos. It'll be me on one side of the ring, Omos on the other side of the ring. That's what's going to happen in 2022.
I can't wait for that. And it probably does have about as much credibility as Alberto El Patron's words.
It's happening.
Okay. I heard someone, I can't remember who it was as well, but someone was saying that it was like Del Rio was also saying that he was going to sign for the third biggest company in North America, so he could claim that if a company did take him, that whichever one it was, because it wouldn't be WWE or AEW, would be the third biggest one. But I mean, I don't think there's much stock in his words, and if a company did book him these days, I think there'd probably be a bit of a tidal wave of negative publicity to overcome as well.
There would be, yeah.
Well, on that happy note, thank you very much for watching this news video. If you missed the earlier one, there's more news on the channel earlier today as well, so do check that out. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you very soon.